A calm paddle in a canoe or a serious workout in the rapids, Oregon's Kalmiopsis wilderness offers outdoor lovers unsurpassed beauty.
This place has great potential for quail. Look at the native grass resprouting here.
A powerful partnership between agriculture and conservation. The big winner is this little bird.
Part of what I'm doing is helping to toughen up America.
Western Colorado is not for the faint of heart. Hunting, fishing, or hiking, Gunnison County brings out the wow in the wild. And there's fear that in North Carolina's largest watershed, levels of an industrial solvent are in dangerous territory.
They're probably the highest in the entire United States.
You've picked the right trail, because those stories are rapidly coming your way, now on This American Land. Funding for This American Land is provided by the Turner Foundation.
Hello and welcome to This American Land. I'm your host, Ed Arnett. We've got some great stories for you today about the conservation of America's natural resources, our landscapes, waters, wildlife, and the people that are dedicated to conservation. Today we start off in southwestern Oregon, in a little-known wilderness area called the Kalmiopsis, where wild rivers carry clean water to downstream communities, and where conservationists want to add surrounding wildlands to the wilderness to protect them from logging and mining.
For me, being out on any river, it's just about, being outside, being in touch with Earth, seeing animals you just run into randomly.
My name is Zach Collier. I'm with Northwest Rafting Company.
Here in the Kalmiopsis, it's just really clear water, amazing plants, wildlife, and remoteness.
We're in the Forest Service land in Siskiyou National Forest, kind of the Chetco district, and we got a boat in tow. Do a little river trip today. Hey, Ann. Doing good.
Gosh, the river looks great.
It's perfect, perfect.
Yeah, look how clear the water is. It's just fabulous.
Yeah, it's looking nice.
We're going to be going from just right down here at the edge, Redwood Bar, down to Nook Bar today.
We're on the banks of the Chetco River, which is one of the quintessential rivers of southwestern Oregon. It flows from the Kalmiopsis wilderness through rugged wild canyons with crystal clear water out to the ocean. This fabulous, clean, fresh water that people love for swimming, camping, boating. And it's also the clean drinking water supply for several of our communities down here. My name is Ann Valisis, the president of the Kalmiopsis Audubon Society. There's a lot of people that have never been up into Kalmiopsis wilderness. It's just so hard to get to. But that's what keeps headwaters of our rivers in such great shape. We have a threat looming, which is the development of nickel strip mines at the headwaters of some of our most extraordinary rivers. I mean, there's just absolutely no place for a strip mine.
A little bit of yarn, a little pink offering, a little buffet of color and a meal. A little bit tight here, so we have to be a little careful catching the trees. The cutthroat, the steelhead, the salmon are mainly a wild strain of fish. They like clean water. They want flowing water. The quality of the water and the returning of the fish is what makes our business.
There is just something about being in a boat on a beautiful river like this that just makes you happy, don't you think?
Even when I'm not leading tours, I come and I do these things by myself or with my family, and it's very important that I leave this place better than it was when I first came here. Clean water is very important to my business. People don't want to immerse themselves in a dirty, polluted waterway to go paddling with me.
We're asking for protection of Rough and Ruddy Creek, Baldface Creek, and the North Fork Smith River.
But they're already in the wilderness area.
They are not. People think that the Smith River, because it's so grand and it's so huge, that it's protected, but it's not. This is Rough and Ruddy, so we are in the South Kalmiopsis roadless area. I bring my family up here all the time. Everybody wants this place protected. One of the things about the Kalmiopsis is that it has serpentine soil, which is this red, clayish look, which gives a lot of life to a lot of flora that you cannot see anywhere else in the world.
I've actually lived here since 1947. My name is Barbara Yulian, and I'm with Friends of the Kalmiopsis. The wilderness area was named for a rare, very rare plant called Kalmiopsis leachiana, and it is found only in the Kalmiopsis. But one of the things that is so threatening to this area is the very geology that makes it so unique actually attracts mining companies.
My name is Metlashne, Lauren Vomlin, and I am from the Tolowa people here, the Tolowa Dini. I don't see how the economic trade-off would be anywhere, comparable to the destruction of this area. The earth is our mother. She gave us our body. In our language, tsun is bone, and non-tsun is the mountain. So our bones come right out of the ground.
We have more conifers growing here than anywhere else on the planet. I'm Tim Palmer. I'm an author and photographer. There are people who fish here in the winter for steelhead, in the fall for salmon, and swim in this river all summer long. Everybody that I know wants to protect this place. That, to me, defines a great community, a group of people who want to protect the values of the place where they live.
We are along the banks of the North Fork of the Smith. My name is Grant Worskell, Executive Director of the Smith River Alliance. The headwaters of the North Fork is in Oregon, and there are not the protections there that we have in California. So that makes it extremely vulnerable to strip mining, and the connectedness is that whatever happens up there will affect this reach of river down here, everything below, and all the communities that depend on it.
The Smith River holds the key to our community. It's what makes our trees grow. It's what makes our fish come back and return to this beautiful, clear river. And if we don't have that anchor, that water, that clean river as our focal point for the tourists that come to our area, more importantly for the culture that has driven this area for over 9,000 years, we won't have anything left to advertise to the world.
We've got to figure out other ways to get the metals we need, and much of the nickel supply comes from recycled metals. So that's something we need to be doing, not to be trading away this utterly priceless place.
This is our nest. This is all humanity's nest. And if we keep bruising it and keep hurting it and not giving it a chance to heal or return or replenish itself, we're going to suffer in the end.
I think there's something that's utterly restorative about sitting down near the edge of the river and just watching the water flow by, or if you're paddling and you see a bald eagle fly upstream, or if you see salmon in the water. All of that is just so magical to feel how we all just fit into the larger systems of life.
We have another story now on the nationwide campaign to restore critical habitat for the bobwhite quail, once the most popular game bird in America, but is now declining in many areas because its habitat is disappearing. Bobwhites are important because they're considered what is called an umbrella species, which means they're a good indicator of habitat conditions shared by many other species, like songbirds and pollinators. So if a habitat is good for bobwhites, then it's good for other species as well. We go now to Kansas, where conservationists are showing how changes to cropland management can make a big difference for the survival of bobwhites and other wildlife.
We're here in the town of Redding, and we're going to be burning down here south on an established buffer here along this ag field. They're gonna put the backfire in right along here. This particular area is part of our quail initiative. We're going to start with a burn. That'll help us remove the thatch of the native grass, allow some space for the existing forbs and stuff to reestablish. And by burning these fields off, we're going to maintain them as that nesting cover that we really need for the birds. Kansas is 97% privately owned. We are reliant on volunteer participation. Those biologists are going out to work with private landowners. In Kansas, agriculture and conservation have actually paired very nicely, and wildlife really benefited from that.
Well, we are here in Kansas to address bobwhites and cropped landscapes because Kansas has been a national example of how to do cropland conservation right, to address wildlife, soil, and water quality all at the same time with the same money. Other states can do the same thing that Kansas has provided such good national leadership for by relying on native vegetation and more natural, ecologically appropriate conservation practices.
This place has great potential for quail. Look at the native grass resprouting here.
So Randy, you've retired this field from cropping and put it into the Conservation Reserve Program,
Right.
primarily to stop soil erosion and improve the water quality in the creek below.
This place has more potential for quail and other wildlife than any of our other places. I'm Randy Rogers. I'm a retired wildlife biologist. Worked for the Kansas Department of Wildlife and Parks for 32 years, and now I'm managing our own land. What I've tried to do is take into account good soil conservation, good water conservation, good wildlife conservation, and still have it be relatively easy to be farmed. Farmers, of course, their top priority, understandably, is making a profit to keep their farming operation going and provide for their families and provide food for all of us. Most of them, at least those that are interested in wildlife, are willing to do something. But the difficult part is that they're not necessarily willing to do everything that you need to pull it all together.
So what kind of wildlife would you see in a filter strip such as this?
Quail, turkey.
And this filter strip is designed and laid out between the cropped area and the stream that lies adjacent. And so most of our practices that we enroll in the Conservation Reserve Program are grassland practices that provide shelter for wildlife, that protect from wind erosion, that protect from water erosion. But it goes beyond that too, because there is an economic benefit. So the public is willing to enter into a long-term contract with a landowner that's willing to offer their land into a program for multiple years. Most of our acres, over 98% of our acres that are enrolled in this program, go with native grasses, and it's benefited the native species. My name is Rod Winkler. I'm with the Kansas Farm Service Agency.
We are at the Byron Walker Wildlife Area, 4,700 acres of prairie and river bottom within Kansas. We've had some big changes over the last couple of years. We have a new initiative now. It's the Habitat First initiative, and we're really promoting a simplified marketing to private landowners so that they know that we have these resources available to them, whether that's technical assistance, just in the form of what can you do on your property to better manage it for habitat, and species specific. If they're interested in quail, we can tailor it to that. I'm very optimistic about habitat improvements.
The grass is starting to outcompete the wildflowers and forbs and weedy type plants. The disking is going to set back that grass and reduce the competition, allow those other native warm season grasses to really take hold and provide that brood structure that we're really lacking in a lot of places.
Along this portion, along the trees there, we're going to plant a new grass buffer. Quail are mobile, they can fly, but generally their home range is within a few miles. And so if you can provide everything that they need within a small area, you can contain a covey of quail on a relatively small area.
This is a center pivot irrigation system that runs in circles around a field, irrigating, in this case, alfalfa. So when you put a round, circular, rotating pivot inside a square field, you get the unirrigated corners. A prime opportunity to create habitat.
So if you look at where we're at, we've had really good success with the CRP pivot corners out in this area to provide that additional habitat. Quail right now have responded very well to the conditions that have been on the landscape. We're making headway in getting the message out. A lot of people still don't understand that this landscape has changed from whenever we had lots of birds. There's a lot of other benefits beyond just the quail. A lot of times we're targeting quail. We have a lot of other species that are benefiting from these same management practices.
I guess wildlife people have to be hopeful. That's what keeps us all going. We're all hopeful that we can make a difference on our own little places or on a few places where we're working with landowners that are concerned.
Now we go to Gunnison County, Colorado, often called quintessential Colorado because of its stunning mountain views, thriving agriculture, and endless outdoor recreational opportunities. Residents there are supporting more federal protection for public lands, including wilderness and special management areas to protect wildlife, headwaters of streams and rivers, and outstanding areas for recreation and natural beauty.
All this beautiful wilderness views and all these mountain bike trails that are single and pristine and quiet. It's a great place to ride. It's a great place to live. There's a deep connection for a lot of people to wild places, hiking, biking, fishing, skiing, and people gain so much from that. And the water stays cleaner if this is protected. The air is clean here. It's just good for all of our souls. I just get to go out and ride all the trails and take notes and do a lot of mapping, and then I get to put it all together, and other people get to explore those places. The first version of this was my first book. My name is Holly Anala. I live here in Crested Butte, Colorado, and write mountain bike guidebooks.
My name is Rob Mahidi. I'm a carpenter here in Crested Butte, Colorado. The Gunnison is known for its wildlife and its huge herds of elk, deer, bear, fox, lynx, and has these huge wildlife corridors that are so important for the migration of these animals to stay healthy. Our mountain biking club is on the forefront of helping with public lands conservation efforts. Let's go out and roll.
Two of them just jumped right there. Yeah. Little guy. Yeah. Fly fishing teaches you patience. You're busy the whole time, and you learn how to be patient with things like tangles, because they're inevitable, and waiting for that fish and trying to catch that fish. Holy cow. There's some spawning right there. He's huge. I mean, sometimes just coming out here, I don't care if I catch a fish, it's just to come out to a spot like this and enjoy it and watch them. You know, catching them is a bonus. Clean water is very important to the business because the trout live in clean water. I had to put one into that little corner. If this stays clean and fresh and pristine, it's here for generations to come. If there was something to mine below this water, for example, it's finite. You know, it's going to go away, and then when it's gone, so is all the rest of this. You can't restore what was once here.
Yeah, well, we have some hunters in a camp up there, right underneath the mountains, and we have to go in. They got a bull a couple of days ago, so we got to go in there and pack the bull out of the deep woods, bull elk, yeah, and then load up all their stuff and bring him down. So we'll be all day doing that. Part of what I'm doing is helping to toughen up America. So like these guys that are up here right now, you know, they have office jobs and, you know, have pretty comfortable lives, and they come out here and, you know, have a great time, enjoy being out here in the wilderness and the nature. My name is Tony Prendergast. I run Land's End Outfitters at Smith Fork Ranch. My grandfathers were both outdoorsmen, and they were pioneers, basically. And my great-granddad came to Colorado in the 1860s, and I often think about the kind of challenges they faced and the lifestyles they had. And it was, they had rich lives, you know, hard, but rich. And I really hope that my grandkids and great-grandkids and on into the future can have a taste, at least, of a lifestyle that's very real and dramatic and beautiful and has a hard edge to it, but keeps you feeling alive. Things change, and so that's why I think it's important where there is, really pristine areas to put in the protections that'll keep those set for the future generations.
Okay, so we're right here currently on the west edge of the West Elk Wilderness. All this down here, south of the wilderness, is really critical. Winter range, it's super important, not just to elk and deer, but to a lot of other wildlife species as well. So at least being able to have a discussion with all the interested parties about keeping this stuff intact, trying to avoid massive fragmentation.
Everybody from politicians to professors to artists and creatives, everyone moves here because of this beautiful dichotomy that we have, this passionately connected community, but then also our opportunities for solitude within nature and public lands. We just have so many advocates for our space up here. Even the Crested Butte Chamber of Commerce is doing a really good job of looking at how we keep this place amazing for locals, but also make tourists feel welcome when they come and visit.
These are the last places that I think that we have the chance to do it now, and luckily we have support from our politicians. They want to see us come together first. They want to see us collaborate locally.
It just helps us stay humble, I guess. It helps us know that we're not the only thing that matters out here, and that nature can just go on even with or without us. 'Cause it'll go on long beyond us, I'm sure.
The lead contamination in the water supply in Flint, Michigan shows how sometimes we take this precious resource for granted. Detective work by scientists at North Carolina State University has revealed another dangerous chemical making its way into thousands of homes. In our Science Nation report, Miles O'Brien shows us how researchers are working to clean things up.
It was an email from a colleague that tipped off environmental engineer Detlef Knappe to possible trouble brewing in the Cape Fear River Basin, the largest watershed in North Carolina. A newly detected chemical called 1,4-dioxane was turning up in rivers and streams that provide drinking water to many communities across the state.
Did we put sample location on here?
After collecting and analyzing samples at various locations, including here at the Haw River, his fears were confirmed.
So the concern is that the 1,4-dioxane levels in this particular watershed are very high. In fact, they're probably the highest in the entire United States.
With support from a National Science Foundation Rapid Response Grant, Knappe and his team at North Carolina State University want to get to the bottom of how the chemical is getting into the watershed, how it is affecting the drinking water.
We are dealing with a chemical that shouldn't be in the water in the first place, and it is a probable human carcinogen. If we would drink water with elevated 1,4-dioxane levels over a lifetime, our risk of contracting some form of cancer would go up.
Knappe says 1,4-dioxane is an industrial solvent and a byproduct in manufacturing everything from laundry detergent to cosmetics to plastics. And water treatment plants typically don't test for it.
Our current technologies, the ones that are typically found in wastewater and drinking water plants, are not able to remove or transform 1,4-dioxane.
Knappe's team wants to work with industry to develop methods to treat the problem at the source before the chemical ever reaches rivers and streams.
The whole equation is very tricky. On one hand, manufacturing activities create jobs. Manufacturing activities lead to pollution. Ideally, we would avoid this pollution at the source. If that doesn't happen, then in the end, as a society, we all have to pay for it.
They're also investigating the effectiveness of low-cost carbon filters people might use in their homes.
That is one of the goals of our work, is to find out whether home filtration devices will actually remove 1,4-dioxane from the water, and we want to see how long they will last. I think we're good.
Counape is also working with managers at water treatment plants and state policymakers to improve testing and treatment standards in North Carolina for 1,4-dioxane. Perhaps soon, the water here in the Cape Fear watershed will be as clean as it looks. Miles O'Brien reporting.
Now here's a story from our next show.
We can reduce the risk of fire greatly by doing prescribed burns like we're doing today, because you simply can't take fire out of this landscape. It's going to come one way or the other.
Well, Trinidad is one of the smallest, if not the smallest cities in California. One of the things I love about being here is that we have enough people who really care about the environment and the outdoors. They came here because of the wild rivers, because of this incredible ocean, because of the hiking, the redwoods, fishing, all the things that they can do out of doors.
That's all for this week. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
For more information about this program, visit thisamericanland.org and like us on Facebook. Funding for This American Land is provided by the Turner Foundation.